Member Reddy.
I think, firstly, I was quite impressed with your presentation. It was very well presented, and I think the information given was extremely valuable. There's just two issues, and I find this to be quite common in many of these workshops that's held in the government space. That is, we do not factor in this political dimension of the space. The fact that all of us that sit in these committees as so-called honorable members are actually from different political parties with competing political interests. And by its very nature, what is happening is we sit here trying to convince each other of our particular position as a political party. And in some of these areas, there's vast opposition. I'll give you an example. We'll take the NHI, for example, a common thing. Some of our parties here come with a particular mandate to advance the NHI. Others have a mandate not to do so. And there'll always be this type of conflict. So we sit around the table and we agree about collective decision making and working as a team and all those lovely things. But when we get back to our manifestos and we find that they differ from the other political parties, that's where the conflict arises. So what I want to suggest and propose is that at some point, when we are in parliament, it's actually a battle of ideas where political parties in a well-managed environment are trying to convince each other of their position. But I've yet to see where somebody stands up in parliament and say, I belong to this party, I belong to the DA, and I finally see the light and I support MK party on its position in economic freedom for all our people. I've yet to find something like that. It just hasn't happened because they are there in parliament because of that position that they hold. Now, I think what we have to do, facilitator, is at some point try to find areas of commonality among us, because there will be. And it is those common traits that we have that we can use to actually advance an agenda that betters not all the people, but the majority of people, who may not always be our supporters. We may belong to a party that has a minority of support within the broad population in the country. And so obviously you cannot sacrifice the majority at your selfish sort of agenda. My last point is about the point that you made. I actually WhatsApped this to the other committee that I serve. It's what you said about clean audits without developmental outcomes is unethical. I fully support that. And I think it's something that Parliament needs to grasp, because there is a notion that says that we all aspire for clean audits. I will show you municipalities in KwaZulu-Natal that have clean audits, beautiful municipalities on paper, but zero delivery. Right? So if we all aspire to have clean audits, it's something that's achievable, but you do not achieve your developmental outcomes. And I agree with you, it's unethical leadership. And just for political reasons, let me just throw this in. The question of an executive, the executive in parliament being referred to as GNU, is also misleading. I think let's accept a template here that can be used in the future, even if there's no GNU. So the template would say that we hold the executive accountable. Today, this executive calls itself a GNU. Tomorrow, it may not be a GNU, but the principle of how we hold them accountable will be the same. I don't know if I'm making that clear. Thank you so much. Thank you very much. Thank you, Chair.
Member Mkwena, I think you had your hand up.
No, thanks. My input is inspired by my colleague there. And I'm glad that we're kind of starting from a theoretical sort of academic approach. I'm worried that we're not going past the stage of developing, so that we can settle our people in South Africa. So I want to make a comparison with DRC, which is much worse off than we are. The population is much higher. I think they're sitting at 99 million. We're sitting at 59. Their GDP is a third less than ours. No, actually, it's 10 times less than ours, because I think they're sitting at about 6, and we're at 6,000. At 600, and they're at 6,000. Yet the major cities, places like Kinshasa, Lumumbashi, they are literally a construction site as we speak. And that construction, which started literally around 2020, 2021. And that move to increase construction for purposes of the public has decreased their unemployment from 22% to 21%. How is it that South Africa, like you mentioned there, that the GDP is #1 in the continent? How is it that South Africa is struggling so much with infrastructure? We know in North Korea, for instance, that one of their major drive in developing their economy was through infrastructure, and they developed their GDP, their economy, within 10 years to being one of the best in the world today. What is it that stands in our way to develop our country in such a way that it, and also one of the key things that South Korea has mastered is maintenance. We're failing at building, but we're also failing at maintaining. What are the blocks that we're experiencing that we're suffering so much? That's all. Thanks very much.
Thanks once again. I want to appreciate and join my colleagues in appreciating your presentation and the provocation of the mind. Indeed, you have provoked our mind, but
If you found this video informative, please like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more content like this. And as always, let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Until next time, stay informed and stay engaged.